Hi, Alan. Yesterday, I was looking at the photograph of the bullet flying by Trump's head, and at the same time, the news came on that the classified documents case was dismissed, for now anyhow. It immediately made me think of Bill Maher, who has said for years that Donald Trump is the luckiest MFer that has ever walked on the face of the earth. That's an exaggeration, but my opinion, not by much. Okay, Alan, that's it. This is Clem Fandango signing off.
That doesn't sound like Clem Fandango at all, usually when he calls. I said that to my wife. I go, Donald Trump was born with a goddamn horseshoe up his ass. Or whatever your euphemism is, four-leaf clover or whatever. I was watching a little bit of the RNC coverage last night. Anybody watch any of this?
No.
Anybody care? No?
No.
Got themselves a real Orwellian hootenanny over there.
I did see, Amber Rose's.
Oh, God, everybody's crapping on Amber Rose. Well, they're like right-wing nut jobs are like, listen, all Trump wants is people there who like him. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't matter where they're coming from. Amber Rose, it was only a couple of years into me being in Cleveland where she was doing a slut walk. Remember the slut walks? Mm-hmm. Women out there would rightfully want to reclaim their sexuality. And they did it in a term called slut walk back in the day. And I thought that Trump was going to talk last night. Traditionally, the candidate talks on the final night of the convention. But they also usually don't announce the vice presidential candidate ahead of time either. So I thought that he was going to get out there and talk, but he just kind of walked. They filmed him first, like, I guess, Ever the Showman. Like when the boxers walk out, when they're still backstage before they walk out, or the UFC guys. And they showed him first walking out, and then they had the dude, who's the guy that sings the "Proud to be an American"? Who's that? The country guy, Lee Greenwood. Lee Greenwood.
I have no idea.
God bless our military wherever they are in these United States and abroad. There will be no wars.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the next president of the United States, Donald J. Trump.
Poor Lee Greenwood, she talked right over him. Yeah. I mean, it's a little anticlimactic. Don't you want to just come out from behind the curtains?
No.
USA. Yeah. Well, there you go. Remember the USA? So they were, yes, chanting for that and very, very excited. But he didn't. He had the bandage on his ear. But he didn't say anything. I don't think. I kind of clicked in and out. But I thought that he was going to say something. Announce him differently.
Ladies and gentlemen, the twice impeached, coup-attempting convicted criminal, your nominee for President of the United States.
It's very exciting for them. So I thought maybe that they would go that way with it. Yeah. Took about 36 hours, by the way, for him to abandon his call for unity, you might have noticed. In the immediate aftermath of that assassination attempt, he kind of had what alcoholics will call a moment of clarity. And he was something about a call for unity. But he's back online screaming about the witch hunt and his perfect phone call. And, Zuckerberg gave him back his Facebook and Instagram accounts. So everything's coming up Donnie, boy. Getting shot is the best thing to happen to this guy in a while. Yet J.D. Vance had his coming out party. J.D. Vance from the great state of Ohio. His wife's Indian, by the way. Anybody notice that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the alt-right guys are already crapping all over her because she's a lawyer. And, they said that they gave J.D. Vance about 20 minutes notice before Trump was going to make the announcement that he was grabbing him as his VP on the ticket. And so his wife, they met at Yale Law School. Just salt-of-the-earth people. Not these coastal elites. Just a couple of kids meeting at Yale Law School. Although J.D. Vance is probably the only vice presidential candidate to ever have a movie made from his book. He had a book called Hillbilly Elegy that they made into a film some years ago with Glenn Close. I mean, A-listers. Amy Adams, Glenn Close. It wasn't very good, but it was, it was cast very well. But J.D. Vance's wife is Indian, so now all the guys that were shrimping all over Amber Rose are shrimping all over, I think her name is Usha Vance. And those people are in a tough spot because those people want to crap all over Kamala Harris. But some of them want to spare J.D. Vance's wife. So I don't know how you figure that out, but I bet they'll figure out a way to do it.
Well, Biden is the first black female president, so that should clear everything up.
I used to say Clinton was the first black president, so. And then you had Obama, and it turned out he was the first black president.
We're all on the same page that, like, Trump's going to win, right?
I'm not.
You don't think that?
I don't think so.
Well, I don't.
You really don't think that?
It's not a fait accompli. No, make no mistake. Joe Biden can still very much win this election.
I really don't think that he can.
They're still pretty much even. Trump didn't get a post-bullet bump in the polling. Nothing's moved. So they're pretty much even. The economy remains in great shape. So there's nothing that says, I know in the immediate blush, this is July, dude. A lot happens. I mean, people at the RNC are freaking out over what Trump might say. So getting shot doesn't magically transform Trump into some kind of moral leader. It doesn't even make him a functional leader. He's still he's running on an openly authoritarian platform still. And J.D. Vance on the ticket, I'm just telling you. Yes, they do care.
There are a lot of people that do
Why
care.
wouldn't they care? Go to project2025.com and then
no one's
tell
gonna do that.
Plenty of people are doing it.
Listen, man.
Plenty of people are doing it. There's a lot of, now I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying that everybody is washing their hands. Well, that's it. Absolutely not.
And there's a lot of people that want people to be disenfranchised and be like, well, Trump's going to win, so what's the point? And so
I'm not saying that.
I'm not saying you're the
one
one saying that, but I'm saying
like that, but
there's a lot of people that are like, oh, Trump's going to win this hands down.
Listen,
I don't
he's
think
got
so.
He's got momentum, right? Because of this perception's reality. I totally get it. I fully get it. But again, he hasn't seen it's not like his numbers are going through the roof since he got shot. Him and J.D. Vance, that makes them the most extreme presidential ticket in modern American history.
And people
Easily.
are going to eat that up.
Some will.
Yes, but
Other people, the same people who hated it before, are still going to hate it.
And there's a lot of people that are going to see these, clips by J.D. Vance talking about how people should stay in an abusive marriage for the kids and things like that, and they're going to be turned off by that.
All Democrats have to do. All Democrats have to do.
There's so many that aren't, but there's so many that are.
All Democrats have to do is run.
That.
All they have to do is run J.D. Vance's comments about Trump from 2016.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be their ad. Is J.D. Vance's own words. Now you're right. A lot of people won't care, but Republicans they already have their people.
All I'm saying is this. Him surviving, they already loved him. Him surviving an assassination attempt boosted him to another
But
level
he already has
with
those.
his fans.
He already has the people you're talking about. He already has them.
People who were maybe in the middle. I firmly believe that if someone was in the middle, undecided, I think that this assassination attempt and him handling it the way that he has so far pushes people toward him. We need.
What do you mean handling it so far? He hasn't done anything. He's back on social
making
media.
A show of it.
He's back
saying fight.
But that's what he does.
I get that, but I'm saying that I personally think, and you guys disagreed with me on this yesterday, I think that made him more likable as a person. He didn't freak out. He didn't cry. He didn't scream.
Cry
he didn't
and
do
scream.
Anything. He showed strength. He stood up and he was like, let's do this. He didn't give a crap about the guy who got shot behind him. But what I'm saying is that I think that shows people, oh, look at this tough, strong leader. I really do. And friggin' Joe Biden can't get through a sentence without pausing and looking like he sat on a marble.
I don't know why people are drilling down on Joe Biden's gaffes when Trump is just word salad nonstop.
Matter.
It
what
does. Why does it
you,
matter for one guy and not the other? Because he got shot?
No, because people truly, I don't think, yes, people who are invested and actually want to use politics to make change care about what is being said. fully, okay? But I think people who are a little bit on the fence and don't know which way to go are gonna go showmanship and lies.
Well, first of all, I don't
fumbling and truth.
I'll leave that to you. I truly don't understand people who are like, I don't know.
How could you not understand it? Both of them suck. And if you're like, I don't really want to vote for either of these guys.
Well, then they won't.
But they will. They're going to pick somebody. If you voted every single year,
most
your whole
people,
life,
I think people who at this point are like, I don't know. That's what both parties are worried about, is that those people aren't going to choose.
I think
that they're going to stay home.
Choose. I think those people are going to choose. Okay. Well,
then why do you think? Then why people who are on the fence, like for instance, the guy who got killed at the rally, is so deep into Trump that Trump hasn't called anybody. He didn't call the widow of the woman. The widow of the man who was killed behind him, right? I think he was we were talking about yesterday. I think the former fire chief of Butler or something like that. Butler, PA. Trump hasn't contacted that woman. Joe Biden called to offer his condolences. And the woman declined to speak with him because her husband, she referred to as a devout Republican, and he would not have wanted me to talk to him. So that's where that lady is. The current president calls. He wasn't there. He got no skin in that game. It's something that any president would normally do. And she goes, no, I don't want to talk to you because that would have made my dead husband mad.
Yeah. You're also dealing with a group of people who are voting based on religious beliefs, regardless of if they think that he's truly a Christian or not.
Well, they know he's not. They don't care.
It doesn't matter. He says that he is.
Right.
He votes
but those people all voted in the last election.
He puts in policies the way that they think they want them.
Right. I get it. He wants a Christo-fascist. I understand all that.
Okay.
I'm just saying you're talking about people who are undecided.
Undecided. In recent events, between the debate and this shooting, I feel like more undecided voters are going to go toward Trump between those two events than they would Biden.
And why do you think that? Because he benefits because he didn't die?
Yes.
Huh.
100% yes.
I mean, Joe Biden didn't die either.
Yeah, but Joe Biden is... It's like you're not listening to what I'm
saying.
I
am listening to you.
Then why are you asking the same question
Because
twice?
I don't know why you think that people are going to lean that way because he didn't get killed.
Because of the way he handled himself in the aftermath.
Right,
but that's... He didn't scream.
There are people...
Cry, he didn't run away.
There are What guy
is... He stood his ground and showed like...
Stood his ground. He dropped to the floor and Secret Service came... That's what I'm saying. Okay. He didn't do anything that anyone else wouldn't do.
He didn't stand up and fist pump and take pictures and say, we got this, keep fighting. He didn't do that.
Well, that's why people think it's fake. You got people in right-wing media who are like, yeah, they don't let you stand up and pump your fist for a photo op. You know who Candace Owens is?
Yeah.
Candace Owens will believe anything. And she doesn't believe this.
Candace Owens also spent 40 minutes going in on Eminem because he mentioned her for one line.
This is what I'm saying.
So I don't know that
she's
Candace
out there.
Owens has a lot of influence.
I'm not saying influence. I'm just saying these are the people who are supposed to be in the tank for you. Already in the tank for you.
If nothing else, if people are undecided in a more rural area, the love that is going to continue to come around Trump, I guarantee they could get wrapped up
I don't believe there are undecided rural voters.
I do.
Because I don't believe this. I'm done with this. I don't believe this, not for 1 second. Having been around the president, having literally almost watched my husband get shot because he came down the wrong set of stairs at the NRA, screaming at him. And I jump in front of someone like, don't shoot him. That's my husband.
So she's like, hey, don't shoot my husband. You're not going to tell me that the Secret Service didn't check this area out where this dude, here's a Marine who's blowing up on TikTok.
The very position the shooter was in, they would have 2 or 3 agents in full battle rattle, security personnel up on that position. The very position that shooter was on. That's very curious to me. And there are 2 things happening when they hurled him off the stage. One, Secret Service does something that's very curious. They pause and let him get his shoot. That wouldn't have happened, folks. They could care less about what articles of clothing you lose. They will slam you to the floor like a rag doll and then pile on top of you and drive you out of there in the lowest profile possible in 5 to 7 seconds. That's actually how they're trained to do it. And the second thing is they will never let you wait and pause for a photo and rear your head. Very, very curious.
I agree with all of that. But I'm saying that him being a good showman and him being... we've all been to comedy shows where someone who is not as well written or not as funny is a great performer and they crush. And then someone with perfectly written jokes who has no stage presence goes up and bombs. That's exactly what we're dealing with when at the debate.
At the very least, 3 days after the event, you can still kind of be in that haze, I guess. But there's still a long time. There's an eternity in political terms between now and November. So I don't know.
I'm surprised that you don't think that him getting shot at and survived is going to turn the needle to people who are like never really paid any attention, and then now they see this and they're like, "That's a strong man. I like that.
Right.
He's not a quitter."
But that doesn't mean they're going to dive into his policies.
Nobody is.
Plenty of people are.
No.
Plenty
That's what
of
I'm
people
trying to get
are.
across to you is that I would say, if I'm just going to throw a number out there, I would say 75% of voters do not dive into policies.
There are plenty of there are a lot of politically engaged people.
But not as many as there are not politically engaged
Yeah,
people.
but the not politically engaged people don't vote.
Yes, they do.
No. But then they're not. Then they're politically engaged. This is what I'm saying. You don't vote when you're not. Voting is political engagement.
Sure.
You're talking about about low information voters.
Sure. Well, then maybe that's what I mean.
Well, there's always a ton of them.
Yeah, and I think there's more of them than people who are well-informed voters. I have voted in every single election pretty much based on one or two issues, and I can fully say that.
Okay.
And
listen,
I think a lot of people do that.
My mother is a one-issue voter. She has been her entire life. Which one of them is pro-life? My parents are both Trump people. Now, my dad, because he was military and my parents are conservative and whatever, right? I'm basically the only liberal in my family. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with being a single-issue voter. There are a lot of those people. But I'm just saying that having the needle move, and like I told you, he has seen no bump in his polling. If you were going to see it, you'd see it immediately after. So they're both still pretty much neck and neck. Now, you could be right. You could be 100% right, and the whole thing's over. But I don't like this. People going, well, that's it. What are you talking about?
I'm saying, well, that's
it. A lot can happen between now and November. A lot can happen,
but based on two events, which is the debate, which Joe Biden crapped the bed.
Yes.
That was a horrible showing for Democrats. And then for that to be followed up with an assassination attempt, right now does not look good for Democrats at all, is what I'm saying.
Well, they're definitely behind the 8 ball.
Sure.
They were already behind the 8 ball.
Do we really think that Biden's cognitive dissonance is going to get, that's probably not even the right word.
No.
His, what am I trying to say? That his mental state and the way that he stumbles over his words and can barely finish sentences, is that going to improve in the next 4 months?
Trump.
But it's presented in a completely different
way.
The
only difference is that one guy got shot at.
No, it isn't.
They both can't complete a sentence.
Yes, they can.
Trump
is spewing lies.
It's word salad.
It doesn't matter. He's doing it in a likable,
It doesn't matter.
Way.
It doesn't matter.
I'm telling you,
it doesn't matter to people at his rallies.
But what I'm saying in general.
But he already has those people.
Okay. If
There's nobody scratching their head. There's nobody scratching their head going, that guy makes a lot of sense. You know why Joe Biden, granted, he's an old guy. You know why he has such a difficult time? Because he has a lot of stuff in his head that he's trying to get across to people because he's doing the job of president.
Sure.
Trump never cared about policy. He wasn't reading the daily briefings. He didn't know anything that was going on, nor did he care. It's real easy to talk to people when you're not trying to get policy points across to them. That's what Biden is trying to do, is explain to people, here's what we are going to do should we win the White House again. Here are our plans for X, Y, and Z. Trump has none of that because he doesn't need that with his crowd. I'm just saying, I got a break here, but I'm just saying there are a lot of people Once the bloom is off the rose, hey, listen, he survived. I'm glad he survived. It's awful. It's terrible. I'm glad he's not dead. But that's got nothing to do with what can happen between now and the fall.
And I agree. There is a lot of time. But what I'm saying is I think you're giving the average Joe, I have the right to vote, so I will, person a lot of credit.
Well, I'm not. I'm really not.
They're listening to what's being
said. No, I listen.
I really don't think people are.
I agree with you on that. Most people are not. I'm just saying that little bits of information get into people. Little bits. Yeah, they do. If it's something that they care about. You know, they always talk about kitchen table issues, right? Obviously, that's what they're talking about. So if it's something, nobody's paying attention to issues that don't appeal to them or affect them, right? That's why a lot of guys are like, I don't care about Roe v. Wade until their daughter gets pregnant. So those are the kind of things. You know, they're running all these commercials of like Republican women who suddenly needed an abortion, and then they go, oh, now I get it. Oh, you do? You couldn't figure that out before? But I don't know. There's a lot of time between now and then. But last night was a wild scene. Our buddy Keith Kennedy's out there.
I know.
He's babysitting Bloom Daddy because Bloom Daddy's live and poor Kennedy is like, you know, chaperoning the whole thing. So, okay, I there's a lot of people on hold, and I don't really want to belabor the point. If you want to hang on, I will. I'll talk to you on the way back. I got those Mammoth WVH tickets. Wolfie Van Halen is trying to continue his father's legacy, and so they're on the road, and they're coming through to play MGM Northfield Park 1 week from tomorrow night. If you want to go to that show, I'll hand off a couple of tickets for you after the break, and then 4:30 is going to be the next chance for you to grab